Hey, how's it going? I'm Chris at PearsonCopy.com, and I'm here to help your brand to make more sales with email. As part of my 100 emails in 100 days at breakdown challenge, I'm taking you through and breaking down an email from a brand called Southtree. This email got my attention because it's a part of a flash sale or a promo, a site-wide savings or site-wide discount coupon code. And this email is explaining to their list that they are shutting down that code, that discount at midnight, the night of this email being sent. So there's a lot of urgency involved. I wanted to break that down and see and just show you how this brand actually does that. Maybe some ways that they're doing it right, and some of the ways that we could maybe improve on or test into later for the next promo or flash sale. So, with that being said, that's the context. Let me go and dive in and break this one down. So, the subject line for this one actually ending site-wide savings till midnight only. Two things. The first one, site-wide savings until midnight only. That's great. Your offer and your urgency is right there in the subject line. Skepticism in the market. This is the second thing. You're addressing that skepticism with actually ending. So that means you're not going to reopen. It's actually at midnight. If you miss this, you are not getting the coupon code. There's a lot of skepticism in the market across various niches and industries where the promo or flash sale will quote unquote end. And then maybe a day or two later, they'll reopen it for 24 hours to those who didn't buy but did open the promo emails. And you try to get more sales because it's like, hey, we saw that a lot of you were asking to reopen this. So we did. Here's the coupon code again. Go buy. You can do this. It is kind of in the gray area of what's right and what's wrong when it comes to saying you're closing your cart for good. If you do have legit emails coming in saying, hey, we're bummed that we missed this sale, we were actually going to buy, and you do make that business decision to open that sale back up, that's totally your call. But over the long term, over the long run, I've seen across various lists and other people that do email marketing as their primary sales channel, opening and closing carts, making those hard starts and hard stops actually benefits you in the long term. Your list takes you more seriously. When you say there's a cart open, they're going to actually go check it out and buy. They aren't going to wait around and hope that you open it after you've closed the cart and reopen it so they can actually get in. So yeah, having those hard starts and hard stops, even if you do miss some sales on the back end because people are like, oh, we missed it, we weren't going to buy, it actually helps you in the long term when you do have promos, flash sales, etc. So that's just two different ways of going about it. I do prefer the hard start, hard stop method. Next piece here, we have the from name and the from email address. Over the last 60 or 70 videos here, I've railed on this quite a bit. I'll make this very brief, but depending on the email, depending on the list, depending on the relationship that the brand has with their list, I would suggest testing your from name coming from an actual person at Southtree or at the brand, and then the info at Southtree.com. This email is fine. If it's coming from an actual person, maybe have their first name at thebrandname.com. This can make it feel more personal. It can make it feel more real. In some luxury or high-end products or items, it can feel more concierge-like, where you're getting an email from an actual person as opposed to the brand itself. So that's another way. Those are two different ways, two different reasons why you want to take the from name and from email address and make that from a person. You can test into this and just saying from the brand and the info at Southtree.com email or brandname.com email. But make sure and test into it and see what works. See if your list likes it and if you can actually get more opens, more clicks, and more sales going the personal route. Next piece here, we have the brand name at the top, brand name, brand logo, and then we have a menu here. I do think this menu makes sense. That my PDF cut off here, but we'll just go ahead and scroll down. I think this does make sense because you have a 45% off ends tonight, shop now. It's a site-wide sale. And so having a menu here does make sense in this case because you want people to go and click on whatever they're interested in and go use the code that you're giving them down here to go buy. So I think this does work. In a lot of cases, I don't think menus work. If it is context-based, where it's like, hey, you can buy basically anything in the store. Here's all the menu items, all the categories or topics you could choose into or click into and choose. You could use a menu. If it's a specific product, like for example, it's a certain type of film, very specific type of film, then using a menu like this may not work as well because you're selling an individual product as opposed to categories or general topics or general interests. So just keep that in mind when you're putting menus at the top of your emails. Does it fit the context of the email? Does it actually help the customer get closer to what you actually want them to do, which is either buy an individual product, go to a Facebook page and go read an article and share it, etc. Whatever that goal is for the email, make sure that all the elements in the email point towards that goal. Getting into the offer now. Again, my PDF saved really weird, so we're just gonna scroll down here. So I'll read this again. You better hurry. 45% off ends tonight. Shop now. So there's your urgency. Just like I said in the subject line, or similar to the offer ends at midnight. There's urgency in this. It means people are going to be encouraged and influenced to act now, as opposed to wait till tomorrow or next week or even next month. And then you've got here 45% off Southtree digitizing box ends at midnight. Prices start at $32. Get started. So there's your offer. That's your main offer of this email. It's a flash sale. It's a promo sale. That's what they're selling. So something here that I noticed with this graphic is this looks great. I think the offer is great. It stands out. The color here definitely is a contrast against the background. The one thing that I noticed, I scrolled past it twice before I noticed, is the code for the actual promo is here on the right. It's not centered. It's not focused. It's overlaying something else. This does not stick out enough, and the color of the background is close enough to the color of the circle is close enough to the background that you may miss it. I did twice scrolling down, just kind of scrolling through casually because I was looking at this stuff here, at this film gear, accessories, equipment, as opposed to looking at this use code suite. So I was scrolling down and missed it, and I'm like, okay, where's the code at? I don't see it, and I had to go find it. So that's something too to keep in mind when you're using design, is just make sure your designers and whoever's managing that is actually saying, okay, what's the goal? What's the focus? We need to make that front and center, make sure that people know exactly where to find it, and it's really easy to see. This was kind of tough for me to see when I was scrolling through. So otherwise, I think the graphic here with the equipment, the accessories, etc., it looks really cool. I'm interested in buying this stuff, and I don't even have this stuff anymore. So it's definitely cool to show this off as a demonstration. Again, we're back after the offer and the graphics. We have till midnight only, and then some copy here that talks about the offer and a shop now CTA. So we have the offer at the top with urgency. We have the urgency again, and the offer again stated in different words, a little more personal, a little more specific. We thought you'd like one more day to save 45% off Southtree when you convert your aging tapes, photos, and film to digital. So they're saying, hey, here's a solution to the problem that you have, giving you one more day for 45% off. Shop now. So again, this is a direct offer promo and or flash sale email. And I think that they're just restating the offer here. Right here, we have a review, which is a mode of social proof. So that just adds into the direct offer. And then here's social proof saying that, like, this is a person, Beth Cox here, 5 stars. Southtree is an excellent choice for preserving your memories. The process is very easy. Customer service is extremely helpful in answering any questions. So that's a great review. This review itself could be an email, so you could expand this out and tell a story of somebody who's the problems that they're trying to preserve their memories, but they don't know how. They tried all these different ways to preserve their memory, and it keeps failing. They keep losing memories, and it's really, really important that they figure this out because they don't want to lose all their memories, lose the rest of the memories they have that are in film, photos, or tapes. And that right there could be a huge emotional story you could send out, as opposed to or in addition to this direct offer promo email. So there's a story right here you can unpack that a lot of the customers, like Beth Cox, they're going to have the problems that you're speaking to. So the story there, it is there. There's multiple stories there. Every customer that you have come in is going to have a similar story, but it's going to be slightly different enough that is a story you can tell on its own, and it's going to resonate with people. So that review has a lot packed into it. You can expand out and use in other emails. We digitize everything. Chances are, if you have it in your if you have it in your attic, we can digitize it. So there's a spelling error here. So if you have it in your attic, we can digitize it. So here's your promise, and then here's where most people will find the things that they're trying to digitize, which is great because that just puts the items that the customer needs to use, or the customer needs to actually leverage this service. You're putting that in their mind. You're putting a picture in their mind of, like, oh yeah, I do have some tapes, film, or photos in the attic and or basement, most likely attic, and that's where they're at. I need to go find them so I can digitize them. This is really cool. I'm gonna go find those. And here's something else too: is when you offer a solution that starts in the customer's life, and it ties back to the solution. So for example, they get this customer read this email and say, oh yeah, I do have some film or some tapes or photos in the attic. I'm gonna go check those out. They go get them. They have that rush of memories. They have that emotional connection to those memories. They start resonating. They start remembering them. They start feeling those emotions again. Then they say, oh my God, I want to keep these. I want to digitize them. I want to make sure I don't ever lose these. That is connecting an emotional moment or moments to the brand. This is why I think with this brand, with Southtree, especially with the digitized stuff, telling stories would be super powerful because stories are emotional vehicles. They carry emotional weight and they carry lessons that can trigger emotions. And tapes, films, photos. I mean, a wedding tape, a film of the first time a kid rode a bike, photos of grandma and grandpa on a trip to somewhere with the family. Those bring up memories. They bring up emotions. And telling those stories and carrying those emotions through story would probably sell these products probably more often and more consistent than just throwing out direct offers. But while there is a time and place for direct offers like this, stories over the long term between these promos and flash sales is going to build a way deeper relationship with the customer as opposed to just throwing the promos all the time. So yeah, there's some insight there. If you have a product that can resonate emotionally and can bring up emotions, like memories, through photos, tapes, and film, etc., movies, any kind of like memoir type stuff, anything that has to do with like tapping into emotion, story, I would advise and encourage to test is the way to go, because story is an emotional vehicle. Down here, our promise to you. So these are the features of shopping with the brand. So 10 years experience, digitized by hand, trust is in our DNA. I think an email for each of these items could be, each of these little features here could be in its own email. You could make one email about the promise. There's a lot of ideas here you can pull out for these features and turn them into benefits, outcomes, and feature pacing for the customer. Then they have general shop now CTA. You have your socials and contact information, your general footer, standard footer information. So yeah, I think there's two big insights here. One, the brand and menu at the top of the email, make sure that's contextual or contextualized within the email. If a menu makes sense to where the customer is going to click on one of these categories or topics to go shopping, great. If it doesn't, if you're selling a single product, like if you're selling a type of film and you put up tapes, film, photos, and audio at the top as the menu items, that's not, I mean, you're not trying to get them to go to audio or tapes. You're trying to get them to go to a specific type of film to buy or digitize. So why would you give them those other options? Typically, you want to go one email, one focus, one goal, and do just one, right? One focus, one thing, right? So that's the one big insight, is make sure that if you're doing these menus and design first type stuff, make sure it's all contextual and it moves the customer towards a goal, no matter what element or what item they click on in the email. The second thing, I guess there's three, but the second thing is this code. Make sure that it's easier to see. Like I said, I scrolled past it twice. Didn't see it the first time. I had to go searching for it. I was like, where is this code? I know they said they have a code, but where is it? And they were kind of off to the side here. The third thing that I would add here is the story. So this brand is selling products that bring up emotions, and I would tell more stories as opposed to showing more products. This reel of film doesn't mean anything to me unless there's an emotion inside of it that I want to see, that I want to play onto a screen. When you connect your product to the emotion, that's going to be way more powerful. It's going to have a lot more staying power when it comes to, I'm not ready to buy now, but I'm going to later. People are going to consider your brand later when you have that emotional connection, even if they don't buy right now. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to plant that seed, that relationship with somebody, so that later when they do decide to buy, they think of you and your brand. If you just throw promos and flash sales and site-wide sales at them all the time, they're not going to connect with you emotionally. They're just going to see your brand as a transaction in their life. And you're the same as every other brand then, because they can just go buy digitization or any other type of service or product, et cetera, or offer from anybody that offers the same thing. The emotional connection and the personality you bring to your emails, that is the differentiating factor in the market these days, because it's so saturated across all niches and all industries. Very rarely is there something new. And so that emotional connection, the relationships, the personality, and building those over time, even if somebody doesn't buy in the first 7 days or 10 days of a welcome series or first 90 days of being on your list, over time they will buy, but you have to have that relationship and build that trust with them. So yeah, those are the three big insights I take away from this email. I hope this helped. In the meantime, if you're looking for more insights, go check out my other videos. At the time of this recording, I've got over 70 videos online breaking down ecom brands and emails like this, across from email, welcome emails, abandoned carts, promos, almost any kind of email you can think of that ecom could send, back in stock emails. I've done some breakdowns on each of them, and if you don't see one that you're looking for, let me know, and I will find some and break those down. Or you can send me your emails, and I'll break them down for you and put them here on the channel. So yeah.